babes.
Good afternoon.
My name is Adejumo for Ifla Africa 2013 Symposium Secretariat. So I would like to ask you some few questions about landscape architecture. But before I
Okay.
go on, I would want you to introduce yourself, sir.
Well, my name is Tunji Adejumo. I'm the president of Society of Nigerian Landscape Architects. I'm privileged to be the person hosting Ifla Africa Symposium 2013.
Okay, sir. So for those of us that really don't know much about landscape architecture, can you just enlighten us a little between a little moment? Tell us what landscape architecture is all about, sir.
Very simple. I'll just give what I call my personal definition. It's just the art and science of planning, designing, and managing the uh, land and water resources, bearing in mind the socio-economic and inherent cultural values and benefits to the intent that man and nature are in harmony. That's what I just call this simple definition. It's about sustainability, but sustainability that accommodates culture and economic benefits for all. It's a matter of equity for all, not for a selected part of the community.
Okay, sir. So I'd like you to tell us, the viewers, how does landscape architecture affect the economy at large and the global warming generally, sir?
Well, very well. That's two questions you have in
Yes, in
one.
one, sir.
One is how does it affect the
Economy,
economy?
sir.
Of course, you should understand that it's about land and water resources. And for nations like Nigeria, like most Africa, which their GDP is based upon resources, primary resources, then it demand the proper, demand a proper set of strategies and methodologies that is be rooted in a philosophy on how these resources should be managed to increase the GDP. Of course, for us in
Yes.
Nigeria here, before crude oil came to mess everything up, we rely basically upon natural
Yes.
resources. To the southwest is cocoa, to the north is granite, everything is based. To the east is oil palm. Everything is
Yes,
land
on
based.
land.
So it depends on how this land is managed to increase productivity. The higher the productivity, the higher the GNDP, and the higher the resources for the secondary industry. If you want to, the higher the number of industry, the lower the unemployment rate.
Okay. How does it affect global warming, sir?
But the issue of global warming is a recent phenomenon. Well, not really that recent, but the effect that we call climate change has been ringing bell in the last 30 or so years. A very simple analogy: you will realize that the city is warmer than the rural area. Why? The city to build the city, man has removed the vegetation and has planted, if that's the best language to use, houses. And by doing that one, in a very simple physics that we know, convention and also the lot of solar radiation take place
Yes.
that makes the city warmer than the natural environment. And beside that, you know that the lower the hectare of natural area made up of vegetation, the more the volume of carbon dioxide that is produced. The higher the volume of carbon dioxide and other related gases we normally call climate change gases, the more it's warmer because it affects the ozone layer, and that's the problem that we have. That is just, and the more the ozone layer is affected, the warmer the temperature. The warmer the temperature, the more that the ice deposit in the both poles melted, the higher the ocean surge. And the higher the ocean surge, the more the coastal area is affected, the more the erratic climatic variables, including rainfall.
Okay, sir. So, as the former president of Nigeria, can you
Yes.
tell us? We know that Europe is really forward when it comes to landscape architecture.
Mhm.
Where do you see Africa generally in landscape architecture in the next 10 years? Do you think we'll be able to compete with those outside the country, outside Africa generally, sir?
Well, it's not a matter of competition. It's a matter of we taking our it's not a matter of it's a matter of we taking our life into our hand and thinking about how to we right the wrongs now within our society using the profession of landscape architecture and making it better. When you realize that 77 million people, some of the out of 30 poor nations in the world, 20 are in Africa with a lot of hunger. And for you to feed, you need the land to be
Yes.
productive.
Soil.
And bearing in mind the volume of the thing, there's a need for us to deliberately sit down and say, what do we need, especially within the number of landscape architects we need within the next uh, few years. So, if we resolve that this is the role that we play, if we agree that within our urban setup, our city could not meet up with the standard in other places. Why? Because the cities and the city managers have little or no knowledge about what we call modern city management. If they have, they will not have what we have right now. And that's what landscape architecture, that's the difference between us and Europe. And that is the only profession that is missing in Nigeria that define the way our cities look like. And like the same thing happened to Africa, except South Africa, that development often, most of the cities are based upon the model from Europe. And if we now have enough people, professionals, we'll be able to sit down and redefine what we want with our cities, so that we'll be able to cope with this advert effect, and so that we'll be able to meet the aesthetic needs that define a city of 21st century.
Hmm. Sir, you've been planning this for over a year now.
Yes.
And I think I've been working with you for some months now.
Yes.
This turnout, is it what you expected, sir?
Well, to me, it's very successful. Successful in the sense that what I just come to do is to plant a seed, and when you plant a seed, you water the seed. And as many people that have been here today, what I'm more very happy is that we have a lot of students, postgraduate students around who are listening to this. And when the minister came today, represented the Mr. President. Of course, that is a pointer to the fact that people in
government
Nigeria
support.
understand what is happening and they want a change. And the
Yeah.
change is necessary, bearing in mind that if the president has 7 point agenda, transformation agenda, the agenda is not going to hand in space, it's going to hand on the landscape. It's then what we are just doing is to look at a way in which we can nest these agendas on a proper developed land that can meet the needs of now and tomorrow.
Hmm. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. I
Thank
really
you.
do appreciate. I'm glad to be part of this.
Thank
Thank you so very much, sir.
Pleasure.
Have a wonderful day ahead, sir.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
Brian will look that.